Delta 32, sorry. I don't know if you caught earlier what happened, but there was a collision on the approach in the 33. We're going to be shutting down operations for the indefinite future.
Yeah, I used to fly that route a couple times a week, both day and night. So they're called the DC Helo routes. They're set up with specific routes, altitudes, reporting points, and the reason is to separate the Helo traffic from the commercial air traffic. For aircraft to land on 33 it's not unusual, but it wasn't the norm. And I had that exact same incident several years ago where I was flying south down the route at night, and there was a commercial jet landing on 33, and I could not see him. I lost him in the city lights there in Anacostia around DIA. You can't see him. The landing lights are not pointed directly at you because he's pointed at the runway, and you're coming from one side or the other. And so, I-295 is right over there. So moving lights, they get mixed up with ground lights, with cars. Yeah, you just can't see them, even with goggles on. Goggles actually make it worse down there. It's so bright. So a lot of times we would flip our goggles up going through that area. So one of the things when I was flying there is you'll have an aircraft stacked up, every couple miles. And so you might have picked the second aircraft versus the one that's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you call that, I see the aircraft, but it was the wrong one.
This is the moment a regional passenger jet carrying 64 people collided mid-air with an Army helicopter near Washington, D.C. The two aircraft plunged into the icy waters of the Potomac River, prompting a massive search and rescue operation. But despite the rescue crew's best efforts, all of the passengers are feared dead, making it the deadliest U.S. air crash in nearly 24 years.
We are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident.
Officials said flight conditions were clear as the jet coming from Wichita, Kansas, was making a routine landing when the helicopter flew into its path. The crash occurred in some of the most tightly controlled and monitored airspace in the world, just over 3 miles south of the White House and the US Capitol. Passengers on the flight included a group of figure skaters, including 2 Russian champions, their coaches and family members who were returning from a development camp in Wichita.
The nation heartbroken as we begin to learn about the victims of the deadly plane collision last night over the partially frozen Potomac River near Reagan National Airport. Our breaking team coverage starts now. Jeff Harris outside overlooking the crash scene with a man who recalls what he saw as it happened. But first, let's get straight over to Ryan Smith at the live desk with the new developments tonight. Ryan.
Tragically, officials believe there are no survivors, 67 souls lost in that mid-air collision. Crews have since pulled some of those bodies from the icy waters here in the Potomac River, and that heartbreaking task that will continue once again tomorrow morning. Tonight, investigators recovering the cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder known as black boxes from the American Airlines jet. Staffing at the traffic control tower was, quote, not normal, according to a report by the FAA. CNN now reporting that one air traffic controller was working 2 different tower positions at the time, handling both local and helicopter traffic.
So we will look at all the humans that were involved in this accident. Again, we will look at the aircraft, we will look at the helicopter, we will look at the environment in which they were operating in.
The National Safety Transportation Board right now leading this ongoing investigation. The board hopes to have a preliminary report ready in the next 30 days.